Hello, everyone. It's Kathleen at Level Up Your English, and I welcome. This is episode number 15, and so this will be the last one for the year for 2023. Can you believe that? So I'll be taking the next 2 weeks off for the holiday season to prepare for that, and also to continue preparing my my big surprise for January. I already did mention this in the last one, that what I want to do is I want to offer a really super duper price for all of you followers who have just been so loyal, with this whole program and in supporting me and supporting me to support you. So, which is what I love to do. And so, again, I'll announce the full details in January, but I will be offering a special code, a special price for those who are following me now. And it's only open to the first 10 people. So, again, I will give more details, but it's quickly, just little sneak peek of a hint. I'm putting together a course, and it is a 12-week course. It is, you have a lot of contact with me. I'm guiding you through my 4 steps of English fluency, or fluency in English, 4 pillars of 360-degree fluency in English. So I'm going to walk you through speaking English, writing English, business English, and social English. And not only the technical parts of those, all the mechanics, and, help you fill in the blanks of any of your areas of proficiency. So if you're having trouble with certain grammar bits or things like that, or, polishing up your writing, I'm absolutely will be covering that. But we're going to be covering it in a completely different way, from a 360-degree viewpoint. So it's unbelievably, I'm not even going to say valuable, because that doesn't even really cover it, if you're serious about your English and really moving forward with that. So I'm really offering a unbelievable discount for special followers. So for the first 10. So again, I will give you all of those details in January. I might actually sneak a few details early for you guys. But just be prepared. So start thinking. The course would begin in February, mid-February. Let me double check that. February, March. Oh my goodness, I'll have to double check. I've been so focused on one area of it that I've forgotten that little detail. But so anyway, I'm just so excited about this. And again, you know me, all my thoughts get, they rush into my head and they kind of get jammed, but I'm so excited about this, and I just really want to make this super special for you. So I want to offer you, who have been so loyal and so supportive, just kind of a once in a lifetime chance, because I won't be offering it at this, for the first 10 people, at this price ever, ever, ever. So anyway, on with our show. So today we're doing the final installment of Business English Basics for this year. And we're talking about specialized vocabulary today. And really what that is jargon. Some particular industries, technical industries, technical industries, or scientific industries, or research-based industries, accounting, things like that. They have their own special technology, but you'll have learned that as you've studied it. And that's not my expertise. What we're talking about is today, right now, we're talking about some generalized jargon terms that you'll hear in the office. So I've broken it down today. There's 4 areas. So there's employee behavior, so terms that you'll hear that have to do with employee behavior. And also, the next one is management, how management styles, management's behavior, and the consequences of that. And then we'll be talking about, was a few for work-life balance, which is important to Americans. I'm sure it is everywhere. It's just super hot right now. But interestingly, though, there weren't as many as I expected in that category. The terms I found most abundant were for the 4th category, which is meetings. If you're in a meeting, you're going to hear a lot of jargon. And you will need to know the terms so that you know what people are talking about. And before we get into that, I'm giving you this because you absolutely need to know these terms, again, in order to know what people are talking about. My view on jargon is, for the most part, 95% of the jargon I've come across in my experience is unnecessary. There was a reason for it to begin with, and there's a little history why it came about, but jargon is so overused that my advice is to, yes, learn. I'm pointing to my notes here. Yes, learn these terms, know what they mean, know where they came from, but then find your own way to say it. Find your own words, use your own words, and that's the way that you're going to have your voice heard above all the noise of this jargon. Jargon, in my experience, tends to be used by people who are insecure and who don't know what they're talking about. They want to appear as though they do. They want to appear as though they're in the in crowd, my air quotes, that they're a special kind of person because they know these secret words. But really, if you just take half a second and listen to them, they're not saying anything because they speak pretty much all in jargon. So I encourage you, yes, know the terms, know what they mean, but only for 2 reasons. One, so that you can follow along and you know what people are saying and you know what people are talking about, but most importantly, so that you can find your own words to say this. If you say the or express the ideas that are um, cap uh, captured within these terms in your own words, you are going to immediately take people out of the daze that the endless jargon puts people in. You're going to wake people up and you're going to make people listen. And you're going to, as long as what you say is presented intelligently and gives value, moves the project forward, moves the meeting forward, really lets people know that you know what you're talking about, people are going to take notice. So you're here, I'm assuming, because you want to not only speak English fluently, but 9 chances out of 10, you're here because you want to do better in your job, or you're going to have to be working with American colleagues, or you already are, and you want to fit in better, you want to understand what's going on better, you want to know how to interact better with American English speakers. And so you definitely have to know this. But again, you're going to really stand out if you can say these in your own words. So I just really don't like jargon. It's necessary to know it, and here's why. So, all right. So in the office regarding employee behavior, list, I'm going to give you the terms, then I'm going to go back through them and just give a little explanation. So, um, first we have ghost colleague, then we have desk bombing, then we have Sunday scaries, bare minimum Mondays, time a millionaire, loud quitting or quiet quitting. We have loud laborers, and then we have to drink the Kool-Aid. So let's start with ghost colleague. So a ghost colleague really came about in the times. It's becoming more prevalent now, but when the pandemic hit and everyone was, locked down at home and had to work from home, that was, all fine and large. But now what's happened that people have come back to the offices. It's interesting that now the offices are now mandating that you really spend some time back in the office. It's been several years now since the lockdown and everything was lifted, and yet we're still just working our way back. So that tells you that people really loved working at home and not having to be in the office atmosphere, etc. So now people are having to come back to the office, but a ghost colleague, the term came about where, all of the work is just done. They do all their work at home and you never see them in the office anymore. So even though it's time to come back, they're like a ghost in the office. They're still an employee, they're still doing their work, but you just never see them. So that's part of that. Desk bombing. And this actually, we didn't have the term, but I've been away from the actual office corporate environment for about 11 years now. And this would happen all the time. And it's actually rude. It's rude behavior where someone just bursts into your office or shows up at your cubicle. You're in the middle of a project. You're really trying to focus and work hard. You might be on the phone, and people can hear that you're on the phone. They just burst in and start talking, and they don't care that you're in the middle of anything. And this is their time, and they're talking to you, and it's kind of all about them, and they don't care what you're doing. So it's, as if, like, think of a water balloon just, thrown in, it just splats on your desk and just, you know, ruins your concentration, pulls you away from what you're trying to do. So that's called desk bombing, and that is rude. So if someone does that to you, it's perfectly fine to say, listen, I'm in the middle of something. Can we talk later? That kind of a thing. Be polite, even though they're being rude, but their behavior is rude. Desk bombing is rude. The Sunday Scaries it deals with that, because in America, there's so much stress in the office. There's so much to do. There's so much pressure to get it all done, 3 weeks ago, and um, more and more is expected of you as an employee. The more you say yes to, what's the phrase? You give an inch and someone takes a mile. So that happens all the time in the office. There's so much pressure that when Sunday comes around, you start getting anxious about going back on Monday, because you're anticipating all of the stress and everything that you're going to have to deal with, and you just want to put your covers over your head and just hide away from Monday and hope it never comes around. So that's the Sunday scaries. And then to follow that, a new trend in the office is bare minimum Mondays, which is a way of coping with all of the stress of being in the office. So many people nowadays are giving themselves permission when they get to work on Monday, giving themselves permission to not get caught up in that hamster wheel, um, stress of, running on the wheel faster and faster and faster only to get nowhere, adding the stress and etc. to your mind, to your body. People are now giving themselves permission to ease into the work week and ease into their projects and everything by being a lot more flexible with the work that they handle and how they handle the work. If someone feels as though they need to take more breaks, but shorter breaks, they'll get up and go for a walk down the hall and come back, or whatever it is they need to do to just take that stress out and organize their work day in a way that works for them. That's what bare minimum Mondays are. They do what they need to do to get Monday's work done, but they've arranged it in a way where it just doesn't feel so stressful. And then if they have to shift things to the other days of the week, then that's what they do to make sure that the week's work gets done, but in a way that's just not so stressful. So that's bare minimum Mondays. So then you have time millionaires. And that phrase, again, a lot of these are actually all of them. I'm looking, except the last one. All of these are reactions to the way the workplace has become, that it's so stressful. There's so many demands on you. Companies are always trying to save money. So they're completely understaffed. They expect each worker to do the work of 3 or so people, all in the same time frame. And they don't really, in general, there's not a lot of care given to or thought given to the fact that, employees have lives of their own. I remember when I was in corporate, I would leave the house at 6:30. I would no, I would leave the house at 5:30, get into the office 6:30 or 7, depending. And I would be working from that time. Sometimes I wouldn't leave till 10 o'clock at night. And so and the work never seemed to get done because there was just so much and we were so understaffed. And, it gets crazy. And, I have friends Monaco, now they've moved, but, and they're asking me, they were shocked that I didn't eat breakfast at home. Oftentimes I would eat breakfast on the train, if I ate breakfast at all. Sometimes I'd actually, later on in my career, towards the end of the corporate time, one of my coworkers says, "Kathleen, I want you to leave your desk. You're coming down to the cafeteria with me. The work is still going to be there. I'm going to teach you how to just take a break and, take some time for yourself, you know." But again, I would see people in the train stations eating they would buy their McDonald's at 8:30 at night. They'd be eating it on the trash can lid, throwing, inhaling it, throwing their garbage away, and then trying to run to catch the train. So time millionaires, what that is all about is that people are saying, you know what? I don't need all the money. I don't need to work 100 hours a week, 80 hours a week, whatever it is, to earn a paycheck so I can have all these things. It's killing me. I would rather have the time to spend living my life. So I don't need to work all those hours. I don't need a super fabulous job. I just need to pay the bills, and I need enough to do the things I want to do. So those are time millionaires who value the time and the living of life more than the than the monetary gain, and the material things. And then you have loud quitting and quiet quitting. So, um, loud quitting is where people just say, I've had enough, I'm done, I'm out of here. Okay. And they don't hide why they're quitting or anything like that. It's emotional and it's just I've had enough. I'm going someplace else. I'm going to find a job, or maybe I found a job um, that is going to treat me better and pay me better. Quiet quitting is where the employee just mentally, emotionally says, I'm done. I don't want to go through the stress of trying to find another job. I don't like it here. I don't like the conditions. So I'm going to do exactly what I need to do to keep my job and nothing else. So that's quiet quitting. They don't announce it. It's just a change in behavior. And that's how they get through the day. They do this until till the weekend, they get their paycheck, and then they breathe on the weekends. And it's just, going through this list, it's really sad. Again, as a culture, we value hard work, and everything has been, you work, work, work to build your fortune, get the American dream, and then everything is wonderful. But we're finding after all these years that we didn't, sometimes I don't think we knew when to stop. We still don't know when to stop, where that line is that says, okay, here's your American dream, you're doing great, but let's not go overboard because now it's turned into a bad thing. Now it's detrimental. So, there you go. And then you have sort of the opposite side of that, or I don't know, loud laborers are, again, people. Loud laborers are people in the office who really don't do anything, but they talk a lot about all the work they have and how important they are. Um, so again, it's not really a quiet quitting, but it's a way to do the bare minimum to make themselves appear important so that they can get raises and move on up the ladder, as we say, um, and earn the paycheck without earning the paycheck, without doing the work to actually deserve that paycheck. And again, I've seen that in so many environments. And it's unfortunate, but it happens, and I'm sure America's not the only place that that happens. This is just our term for it. And I'd be interested to know in the comments if you have any or how do you phrase it in your language for this type of behavior, any of them. All right, so that's employee behavior. The second area is management. So management styles, management behavior, and then the consequences of them. Um, so again, there's quiet hiring and quiet firing. So quiet hiring is basically, um, what's the word? Promoting from within. We just never had a term. That was our term. You promoted from inside your company rather than going out and advertising that we're looking for someone in this position. You look at your workforce and see who's doing well, and it's um, just normal procedure in the office place. There wasn't jargon for it. Now there's jargon. That's quiet hiring. And I think that it came about because there's been a spate of layoffs, in major layoffs in especially the tech industry. And there was a big deal made about the layoffs, and now people are realizing, I think we need to fill those spots, but we can't advertise because then that hurts our image, and we look like we look like idiots because we didn't think that through. So we're going to look inside and just promote. So I think that's where that came from. Now the quiet firing is a different thing entirely, and it's just really it's it's an awful thing to be the target of, I suppose. That's where the company decides that they don't need you anymore, or they don't want you in the position, but they can't really fire you for whatever reasons. So they're going to make your life miserable so that you will decide to quit. And so they're shoving you out the door, but they're not officially making that decision. It's on record that you quit. So, and that has financial implications as well, because if they fire you, if the company fires you, then they have to give you a package, a severance package and all of that. So there are a lot of reasons why this would be done, but that's the ultimate goal, is to have the employee on record as leaving versus having the company on record as firing you. Um, so there's that. There's copycat layoffs, and this is what I was talking about with the tech industry. Um, One or two major companies had laid off a bunch of people um, not too long ago, and then others decided, oh, well, if they're doing it and they're big names, then they must know something, and so we should do it too. So that's copycat layoffs. And then there's hot summer labor. This is kind of really new. Basically, what it is it's an epidemic of companies, different industries, different employees in a certain area or what have you going on strike. We saw it with the screenwriters in California and things like that. And then there were other industries at that same time that were saying, you know what? Us too, we have grievances as well that are serious and they need to be heard. So, several industries went on strike at the same time. And so it's a hot labor. So labor in America, it refers to the labor force, employees. And it could be in one industry, many industries. But as a general term, employees are just referred to as labor. Um, and because it all happened in the summer, hot labor summer. We also have, okay, so in regards to the firing situation and also the office work conditions, so many people got so frustrated with just the intensity of the stress and the intensity of the expectations and their unrealistic demands of how much you can get done in a day. And, like I said, you're expected to do the work of three people, and being understaffed and all that. That there people begin just a blanketly applying to a bunch of jobs just to see what would happen, and if they got any offers, then they would quit. So they were applying to other jobs sort of in a rage about the conditions and the treatment that they were being given. So that's where that comes from. And then you have resenteeism. So what that is that, again, it's like people are resenting being in the position that they're in, but for some reason they're not able to get another job, so they do the job that they're resenting being there. And it's just that whole sense of built up or built up but covered over emotions, held in emotions. You also have malicious compliance, and that is where an employee is staying in the job for whatever reasons. And they're trying to get back at the company by giving away free things or giving, the family and friends discount to anybody that comes along or things like that. So they're they're staying in the jobs, they're complying in that sense. But there's that added thing of I'm going to take from you because you've taken from me, that kind of a thing. And that's never a good idea. Um, and in so it, again, with the copycat layoffs, it's not just because of that, but this is a good example. So you might have the copycat layoffs, and then you have the quiet hiring where people are trying to promote from within. You also have people that are called boomerang employees who, okay, they've left the company for whatever reason. Either they were laid off or they, left because they couldn't, the environment wasn't good for them. But they decided, oh, that wasn't as good as I thought, so I'm going to come back to this place. So it's like you throw a boomerang, and if you do it right, it comes back to you. So they come back to the company that they left. So those are boomerang employees. And then one term you'll definitely hear just from human resources is called onboarding. And it's actually comes from the term, when you board a train or a boat, it's all aboard, come on board, or, whatever that is. It's about welcoming someone on board your ship. So if you think of the company as a ship or a train, you're welcoming people on board, and there are certain things you have to do. Like if you're on the train or the ship, you have to store the luggage, assign the cabin, give all the rules, things like that. So onboarding has become a verb in the human resources area. That means welcoming new employees and getting them all settled and, following all the rules, or giving them all the rules. Okay, so now I have gone over, but these are important. So just work-life balance. I only have 3 here. So we have lazy girl jobs and the snail girl era. They're related. So lazy girl jobs are just jobs that don't take a lot out of you, and you can work them at your schedule. So if you are a virtual assistant, you can decide what hours you want to work. You can take on assignments based on, how, your schedule that you set up. So if the person that you're working for is okay with you, as long as you get the work to them at a certain time, they don't care when you do it. That's that kind of a thing. So you could sit and read books all afternoon and then work at night if you wanted. Those are lazy girl jobs. Um, and the snail girl era it's kind of a counter to this whole girl boss thing where, you have to be the all powerful woman who can handle everything, and you're in charge, you're the boss, and things like that. The snail girl era is like, whoa, I don't want to live with all that stress. I just want to take a simple job that I can leave. When I leave the job, work stays there. It doesn't follow me around. I don't have to care about it outside of work. And I can just, again, relax and enjoy my life. So that's where that one comes from. And you'll probably have heard digital nomad. And again, I think that really took off when the pandemic hit. So people couldn't go to their offices, but, you know, maybe restrictions were eased, and so they could work at coffee shops, or they could work out as long as they had internet connection. They could, work in a field or whatever. They could work wherever they wanted to. So they could, maybe Monday they worked in a coffee shop, Tuesday they worked at the laundromat while they're doing their laundry. So it's, you're a nomad. you're following sort of a digital, um, wherever there's Wi-Fi, and internet, that's where you can work. So that's the whole digital nomad thing. Okay, so now we have a ton of stuff to cover here. So actually, I think because we're at the half-hour mark, and really there are a ton of um, terms and jargon here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut this off here. Um, Ask me any questions you want about the terms we've gone over. But I'm going to actually talk about this next stuff, the jargon that you're going to hear in meetings. I'm actually going to talk about that in detail in at the noon live today. So I'm just going to give you a rundown of the terms we're going to cover, but I'll cover them in the next live session, which is at noon Eastern time. So this is stuff that you're going to hear in the office. Now, one thing I want to really let you know, and this is another reason why I don't like jargon, is because so often the terms are developed because of, a word sounds cool or it sounds, exciting and hip and, you know, whatever that is that people want from a from a word. But they end up using them incorrectly. And because they're being used incorrectly, if anybody thinks about it for half a second, you sound completely unintelligent and you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, when the very point of the jargon is to make you look like you do. So, in two examples I'm going to give, and I've made some posts on one of them. Um, I haven't on the other, which is a good idea. So, the first one is actionable. Now, you're going to hear that all the time. You'll see it. Actually, no, I have written about this one as well. Oh, you'll see it in titles a lot of, oh, 10 best tips or 10 best actionable tips for productivity, or this workbook includes actionable items that will, help you apply this. Actionable is actually a legal term, and it means a behavior or something like that. A behavior, a thing upon which you can take legal action. So it's not something that it doesn't mean, oh, here are things that you can do to be more productive, or here are steps you can take to, you know, move the project forward, whatever that is. It doesn't mean things that you can do. It means something, an action that you can take that creates cause for legal action. Okay, it's a legal term, and people are using it all the time. Everywhere you go, people are using it to mean something that you can do, a step you can take, and it's not correct. Now, I believe recently it has become an official definition, but please don't use it. Please, please, please. It's kind of like, has your mother ever said, well, just because everyone else jumps off the bridge, do you think it's a good idea for you to do it too? So really think about that. Just because you hear it all the time, and it might say that it's okay, please don't. When you look at your definitions, look at how long they've been in place. And if they're just recent, stay away from using them that way, because it just does not make you sound intelligent. And you're here to learn how to communicate more intelligently. You're here to be able to show off how capable you really are, even though you might not have a full grasp of the language. You're here to overcome that language barrier and really show your stuff to a whole new series of people. So please, please, please make sure you're using the word correctly, and don't just go with the first definition that you see. If you look it up online and you go to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, yes, that is a highly respected dictionary, and 99% of the time you're fine. But always give it a second look. Go to the Oxford English Dictionary, go to Collier's Dictionary, look it up in several places and see what they're saying. And then go to the Urban Dictionary and look for when the term was put into use, okay? You can tell I'm passionate about this one. The second one is grow, and this drives me crazy. So people talk about growing your business, growing your email list, growing your career, growing this, that, or the other thing. Unless it's a plant or unless it's, your intellectual growth, unless it's talking about the human body physically growing, children have growth spurts or things like that. You cannot grow a business. You can increase your business, you can expand your business, you can build your business, but you cannot grow your business. Your business might grow, but you cannot grow it. And so it's super important to really understand these terms before you go ahead and use them. Really think it through. You've been given a brain. You're smarter than you think. Don't just take everything that you hear for granted. Okay, please. Okay, so just a real quick rundown. So we're going to talk about, I'm just going to run through them. So these are the most common ones you're going to hear: ASAP, EOD, back burner, bandwidth, brain dump, bring to the table, break down the silos, core competencies, deck, deep dive, deliverables, evangelist, onboard, hard stop, leverage, one paper, traction, white paper. Now, these are metaphors and analogies that you're going to hear a lot. Herding cats, jump the shark, low hanging fruit, make hay while the sun shines, move the needle, over the wall, pain point, push the envelope, run up the flagpole, move the goalpost, skin in the game, throw under the bus, trim the fat, silver bullet. Those are the ones that we're going to go over. Okay. So this just feels like it went by so fast. I feel like I just hit go live. So anyway, excuse me. I apologize for splitting this into two, but you can see that we wouldn't possibly have time to go over all of these and still give you time to finish out your lunch in peace or get ready for your day or unwind from your day. That's my goal, and so I don't want to take up all your time. So I'll do the rest of those this afternoon. Excuse me, apologize. I was right into the microphone. All right, you go have a wonderful day, and I will see you at noon, and otherwise I will see you in January. So I'm going to take, I think it's just 2, maybe 3 weeks off, and I'll be back then. Okay. So, happy holidays. I know not everyone celebrates Christmas. We're in the middle of Hanukkah, I believe. So happy Hanukkah. And, we're coming up on Christmas. So Merry Christmas. And if there's anything else in there that I don't know about, happy it. And, just really enjoy the time and yeah, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you at noon or in January. All right. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.